So I got invited to speak at an event. It was for a big company. They were offering to pay my full speaking rate. But for some reason, my gut was telling me that this was going to be a mistake. But I said yes anyway. I accepted the engagement. I went to go do it, and I instantly regretted it. I'm going to tell you the story in just a second. First, let's go get some coffee. So I always take you on my morning walk while I get my coffee. The reason why is because, as you know, I run a online-based business. I work from my home office, and all my employees work from their home offices. And if I don't go out of the house to get coffee, I never leave the house. Even when it's cold out, it's always great to just get outside of Manhattan. It's one of the most inspiring places in the world. All right, let me tell you what happened. I had this speaking gig, and it was for a big company. They wanted to pay my full rate. They agreed. It was $20,000 to speak, and I'm like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna give a presentation I already gave before. Everything's gonna go great. Then things started to go wrong. Red flag number one. They wanted to negotiate my rate after we had already agreed on the rate that I was gonna speak at. At this point, I told them, look, we already agreed, we're not gonna change it, so they kind of acquiesced. Then, red flag number two. Now they wanted me to meet with like 10 different people leading up to the event. I've never had to do this before in my speaking career, and I've done a lot of speaking engagements for big companies, for small companies. This whole meeting with people thing is just like, what? So that was the next red flag. Third red flag is my gut was suggesting to me that it wasn't going to be a good idea. And I started to explain away that gut feeling, that intuition, that instinct. I started to say like, well, maybe I'm being an here. Maybe I'm just not seeing the positive. So I explained away all these red flags, and I did it anyway. And let me tell you, what a disaster. Now, the reason why I ended up going wrong is because the speaking gig turned into this big thing where I had to change my presentation. I wasn't able to say this, but I could say this. I couldn't say this. I could say that. In addition, I had to do like 25 meetings. It just was a complete waste of my time. I'm sharing this because there's a lesson here. The lesson is this. As entrepreneurs and business owners, sometimes we say yes to things when we know we want to say no. And we say yes anyway. Why? Well, partly because of FOMO. You've heard of FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. I said yes to this because I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to give this speaking gig. So I want to share with you 3 tips or examples that will hopefully make it easier for you to make better decisions when it comes to these sorts of situations. So here's the first tip. Trust your gut. If you think something's going to be a waste of time, it probably is going to be a waste of time. You might have manifested it by going in there with negative intentions, but it's irrelevant. If you can't escape those negative intentions and it's going to be a waste, it probably is. So you should trust your gut. The second tip, if you have to find the yes, it's probably a no. Let me explain. In the case of this speaking engagement, I knew it was going to be a mistake. The red flags were there. But I kept finding these what-if scenarios that would make it okay. What if I could add it to my resume? What if this opens me up to a new market? What if I meet all these cool people? What if, what if, what if? And I used these what-ifs to find the yes. Now here's the deal. My gut knew this was a mistake. I knew nothing was gonna come of this speaking engagement, but I did it anyway because I listened to the what-ifs. What-ifs almost never pan out. We want them to, and maybe one time in 3 years they do, but they almost never pan out. And if you're a new entrepreneur and you're pressed for time, you can't be giving your time to these what-if scenarios. You need to be putting it towards something when you know there's gonna be a result, which leads me to the third tip. You should never say yes to something with a vague reason why you should say yes. There should always be a concrete reason. Very specific. You're thinking about going to a network event? Who's gonna be at that event that you want to meet and why? You're gonna say yes to a speaking gig. If you need the speaking fee, great, that's a good reason. But if you don't need the speaking fee and you're doing it for all these other reasons that aren't as concrete, don't do it. But I want to sum this video up with one simple quote. Richard Branson once said, opportunities are like buses. there's always another one coming. And let me tell you, that's 100% true, especially as entrepreneurs and business owners. There's always gonna be another thing you can put your time into. Actually, one of my other favorite quotes comes from Steve Jobs. And there was a conversation happening between him and I think a journalist where they were like, look at everything you've done. And he was like, I'm actually proud of everything that I have not done, the things that I said no to. And the reason why is because as you want to grow your business, your income, your life, whatever you're trying to do, at some point or another, you're gonna have so many things coming at you that you have to be super greedy with your time. You have to know when to say no and you have to stick to it. After this speaking gig, I actually chose to quit speaking. Not because I had a bad experience and I was running away, but because I was at the point in my business where I knew speaking was not going to be a good use of my time. And I just needed that one more example, that one more experience that would really just nail that home. So for you, I know you're watching this, and here's what I want to hear from you. Do you remember a time when you said yes to something when you know you should have said no, but you said yes anyway? What happened? Share your story in the comments. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and if you haven't yet, hit that notifications bell and get more videos, and I'll see you tomorrow.